CPA fans, thanks for joining us here. This is Phil Newman, your Director of Communications at the Academy, along with Coach Drew Maddux, our varsity head basketball. Wow, let's say that again. I'll be able to cut off the front. Just keep going. Just keep it going. I'll be able to turn off the front. CPA fans, thank you for joining us. This is Phil Newman, your Director of Communications here at the Academy, along with Drew Maddux, our head coach for varsity boys basketball at the Academy. Coach Maddux, thank you so much for joining us for a few minutes to do a little season preview here.
Yeah, thank you, Phil, for all you do, and thank you for having me.
Well, our pleasure. And for those who may not be familiar, this is the 7th year coaching at the Academy for Coach Maddux. A lot of success over those years for him and for the team, a lot of accolades, and culminating in a state championship run last year in 11-12. And quite a huge day that was, and capping off an amazing season and finishing off winning that last game, which you say is a dream for everybody, whether you're a coach or a player. So I want to ask you, Coach Maddux, about that before we get into this year. Just looking back at that, and I was there with you after the game, and just seeing that whole experience was phenomenal. So did it sink in right away, or did it take a while, maybe still taking some time to sink in that, hey, we're state champions?
Yeah, I don't think you ever fully realized what was accomplished. You know, it was an amazing, amazing season, memorable in so many different ways, Phil. I mean, it really, every measurable you could measure a memory by, it was just special. We had unique relationships, outstanding community support. The kids played the right way. I mean, you know, they were unselfish. They loved and served each other well. So it just was an incredible experience to get to be a part of an organization and a team, you know, that was about the right things, that really truly thought about their teammate before themselves. And it just exemplified all the way to the state championship. You know, the funny thing about that Saturday after we had done it, though, was, you know, we laughed leading up that week because Coach Legate the girls had already won it the week before. And so, you know, the week leading up to it, everybody, you know, can the boys do it again? Can you,
no
can
pressure.
you exactly. Can you become the 4th team in the history of high school athletics in the state to do that? And so, you know, it was difficult trying to block that out. But bittersweet in some ways, though, because some unbelievable seniors that were special. But definitely, you know, the locker room was a special time to be in that locker room winning that last game.
I think somebody at the girls' state title looked over you and said, "Hey, one more, Drew." So that pressure must have been extra incentive perhaps that week.
Yeah,
but
it was.
And you mentioned before we go on, I wanted to make sure folks know, speaking about being part of the CPA community, of course, Coach Maddux also is our Director of Enrollment, which is an exciting job to have. And this time we're blessed to be in a season of growth and really seeing the Academy flourish and blossom, aren't we?
It's a special time in the life cycle of this special place, and you know, we're getting to experience the fruit of a lot of investment by many people. You know, people that I don't even know. You know, a lot of prayer and a lot of thought and a lot of vision, and God really blessed a lot of people with a vision for this place. And you and I now, as employees of this place, as you try to extend the brand in the marketplace, and we try to be welcoming and hospitable to our visitors that visit. You know, it's really amazing when you look back over the life cycle of the Academy to see where the organization is today. And, you know, it's just a blessing. I mean, it's so much fun to host these prospects and these guests to our campus. And, you know, there's a buzz about our brand right now in the marketplace. And so God is really blessing us during this season. And so we're just trying to capitalize on all the growth initiatives and the strategic plan of the leadership that has blessed this Academy.
No question, it's humbling to be part of the growth in this environment and see what the Lord is doing here. So back to the hardwood now, speaking of exciting things there. This year you mentioned some of the key parts last year. Obviously, among the seniors, we had Craig Bradshaw, one of the 3 seniors who is now at Belmont doing well as a freshman. And but those seniors are tough to replace. And if you can, talk about the roster this year and what you expect. Obviously, it's a young team still, but a lot of experienced guys.
Absolutely. I think you said it correctly. You know, you think about looking at our roster on paper, and first thing that jumps out at you is there's no seniors. And so it does look to be a youthful roster, but the guys on this roster have played basketball an awfully long time, literally had experience all over the world playing the game, and some of the guys have been playing since they were freshmen here at CPA. And so I trust this group. I've known this group for a long time. We've been through a lot of great memories together, going back to when they were little kids. And so it's just it's a special group in so many ways. So yeah, there's a void not having that senior leadership, but this group has what it takes to kind of pick up the slack without that senior leadership. Now, obviously, without those 3 seniors, Craig Bradshaw, Tucker Johnson, Brandon Cook. There was a void. There is a void. Those three were special. They were great leaders. But I really like this junior class. There's 9 of them, and it's a tremendous thing to see the closeness that group really exhibits.
And you've got, of course, inside-out threats with Jalen Lindsey. You can play both, and of course got Jake, the sharpshooter from 3, and Braxton Bonds running the floor a lot, and then 9th grader Braxton Blackwell,
Right.
among other pieces. But
Sure.
what do you expect? Who do you think will be the players that you really got to rely on to step up big this season?
Well, the 4 that you just mentioned are unquestioned some of the best players in the mid-state area, if not the country. All 4 of those guys hold Division I scholarship offers, and not one of them are seniors. They're very gifted. It's really amazing. Those 4 are so super talented. And they get a lot of attention, as they should, because they're obviously gifted. I think kind of a surprise player, if you mentioned those 4, I think somebody that the community is going to really love seeing back with us is Thomas Richard.
Mm-hmm.
He had such a great football season this year, and he's come off that a foot injury that saw him out for about 14 to 16 months. He hadn't played a competitive basketball game since his freshman year. And in his first game this past week, he had 15 points and led us in scoring. So I think the community will really like seeing him being back with us, making basketball plays with those gifted players.
Now, is it fair to say, without giving too much away, that you want to run an up-tempo style, and pretty much it'll be a lot of high-scoring games, perhaps in the future?
If we're dictating tempo, then yes, that's a good thing, because obviously we're trying to push tempo. We want to create a game that's chaotic, because we feel like we can control the chaos better than the other team. The way we practice, the way we prepare, I just think we're suited to handle when it gets to be kind of a crazy game. And so we're trying to scramble the game up, obviously. If you watch CPA, you know that we want to fly the ball down the court. We want to make the extra pass, and we want to play as fast as we possibly can. And on defense, we're trying to dictate the tempo. You're going to see a full court press. You're going to see a lot of traps and a lot of scramble ups of the other team's best players. And we think at the end of it, when the scoreboard, if it's an 80-point game, then we've dictated it the way we want to play, and we'll probably be successful.
Sure. Now, looking at the schedule, as you look at the couple big tournaments coming up, and then just district games. Yeah. What are some of the key milestones you see as the season unfolds?
Yeah, I think this pre-Christmas time is very crucial for us. Once again, we're just integrating in the football guys that had an incredible run, to the Final Four, and so these early games are really key for us to get them back acclimated to playing basketball. And then, we're going to the King of the Bluegrass tournament again in Louisville, Kentucky, which has an unbelievable field. It's a national level tournament that we were blessed to win last year, so we're going back to that tournament right on the heels of just taking final exams. So that will be a difficult challenge. We'll come home for 2 days, Christmas Eve and Christmas, and then we're back on the road on the 26th to the Beach Ball Classic in Myrtle Beach. And last time I counted, there were 6 top 25 USA teams in that tournament. When we come back, obviously, we're going to be looking towards a postseason run, and we play teams like Innsworth and Maplewood twice, and East Literature, Magnet School. Some of these teams in our league that are will prepare us for a good postseason run.
Are there 1 or 2 things that are going to be keys for your team to get back to state, to get back to possibly repeating at winning that last game?
Yeah, I think that the couple of things that we focus on is, having unconditional togetherness. That's been one of our major themes we've been trying to talk about. Really loving each other well in the moment and being extremely unselfish. We've been talking about just having relentless effort. We utilize that verbiage, just that we want to play really hard. We want to practice hard. We want to prepare hard. We want to do things the right way. And then ultimately we want to be just unselfish. I mean, I think the greatest compliment that was paid to that team last year with all the talent on that roster in the state finals, the commentator mentions, if there's one word to describe CPA, it's unselfish. And so we want to make sure we maintain that legacy that those 3 seniors had kind of implemented into the culture.
Last question, wardrobe question. Obviously, my wardrobe is important to me, but this is purple. Don't adjust your computer screen. But for Coach Maddux, you plan to wear the polo shirt with the jacket again this year, or change it up a little bit?
We're going to ride till it dies. So we still have not lost in 2012. So until that moment occurs, we'll continue with the same wardrobe.
All right, very important. We close on that very important fashion note. Coach Maddux, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you,
Phil Newman, glad to be with you, and we'll be cheering for the Lions all season long. Thank you for joining us.